Coming up on this episode of the BMW Motorrad Ride and Talk podcast, exploring the exotic and mysterious roads and trails of Colombia. Take a listen. Over the years, I've had the privilege of riding BMW motorcycles all over the world. And the one thing I've come away with is that the only thing more extraordinary than the ride are the people you meet along the way. These are their stories. My name is Sean Thomas, and this is BMW Motorrad's Ride and Talk.
Because especially when you're on the bike, you got the capability of going out to faraway places. Maybe your traditional tourist in Colombia is going to jump on a plane and he's going to do your usual travel circuit.
Yeah.
But when you're on the bike, you're getting to those maybe traditional tourist spots, but the way you're getting there, it's what really kind of brings the experience to life, because you stop in tiny towns and you meet the real people and you have the true kind of experience.
There are many amazing places to ride in South America, and Colombia is definitely among the most notable. With breathtaking mountains, cities, villages, and microclimates, Colombia is a place that will provide even the most avid explorer with memories to last a lifetime. But what's it like exploring in Colombia? Today, my producer Louise Powers and I sit down with Micho and Saada, Colombian natives who tell us what it's like to ride motorcycles in their beautiful country. I think the first time we met was 2015. And you were talking about the virtues of riding motorcycles in Colombia. And I think I had the reaction that a lot of people have when they hear about Colombia, which is, well, I'm going to let you tell me what you think it is.
Well, I think the most often question we get is it safe? And actually, I wrote a short blog post, so I could send people to that blog post, because we were getting the question so much, and the answer is no. I mean, I'm sorry. There it goes. It's over. No, the answer is yes. Yes, it is most definitely safe to ride in Colombia. That's the biggest kind of the biggest wall maybe people have to go through.
Sure.
It has changed quite a bit in the last few years, but we still get it every now and then, and we still have to kind of go and I mean, I don't think the word is convincing, because it's just kind of reassure them.
Sure.
That it is totally safe to travel in Colombia, and that, what you're going to expect when you get there is absolutely insane.
And this is really interesting to me, because I found going there that was all that was in my mind was, it's a safe place to go, clearly, because my friend has told me it's a good place to ride and have a good time. But I didn't really think beyond that. And in fact, I remember contacting you before I went and saying, like, what should I wear? Like, what should I dress for? What's the weather going to be like? Do you remember what you told me?
Oh, yeah. Like, dress for anything almost, because it's we don't have the seasons in Colombia. We're so close to the equator, and a lot of people that come, maybe they're used to having your winter, your fall, your summer, your spring. And in Colombia, it really all depends on what elevation you're in. So you live in Bogota, which is 2,600 meters above sea level. You're going to get a little bit milder, colder weather, but it's going to be the same June, December, and the sun sets and rises. Maybe the difference is 10, 15 minutes between June and December. And then if you live down maybe by Honda or Cartagena, or hot weather, is going to be hot weather all year round. So it's the land of microclimates, and the microclimates go through, like in minutes you can be at 0 degrees, then 40 degrees, then back up to like 7 degrees, and it just changes constantly and dramatically, and there's no weather prediction. I don't know if maybe that's what I tell you, is like, hey, the weatherman, it's an inexistent profession in Colombia. I think maybe one day somebody tried to put it in the news, and he got fired after a week, because he would never hit the nail on the head. So it's like, there's no opening your app and checking, the weather tomorrow is going to be there, and then the app tells you, please wear a sweater and bring your umbrella. That doesn't happen. It's about just like looking out the window. Okay, and then 5 minutes later down the road, the window changes because it's now raining, and so the weatherman is non-existent, and it's just all about whatever comes.
So when I rode to Alaska somebody told me there, I'll never forget this. He said, he goes, where are you going first? I go, well, I'm flying into Anchorage. He goes, okay, well, there's Anchorage and then there's Alaska. Like Anchorage is the city and everything is very westernized there. But then as soon as you get out of the city limits, then you really open up the country and you become this. It feels to me like this is what you might say about flying into Bogota. Yeah. Like you get to Bogota, you're in the city, but then the world changes when you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know, Bogota is a city of about 9 million people. It's massive. You know, wow. Colombia is about 50 million. So, 1/5 of the population live in Bogota. So it's this massive, sprawling city, crazy traffic jams, wonderful city in its own unique way.
Yeah.
But obviously, once you're out of the city, it's you're I mean, I don't want to say that Bogota is not the true Colombia because it's definitely a melting pot of all of Colombia. Yeah. But once you get out there, like the tough kind of city atmosphere, and especially I think the friendliness of people, which happens with I think any big city in the world. People in big cities are kind of cautious and protective, and they don't know what's going to be around the corner, so you're always kind of looking over your shoulder no matter the city.
Sure.
But once you're out there in the countryside, people are like extremely friendly and they approach you and they say hello, and they are, I mean, one of the beauties I think that I've seen in the last few years as tourism grows and as Colombia has opened up. I mean, we're talking about the last 15 years. To me, sometimes it feels like this opening up happened like a year ago type of thing, but is how people welcome the visitor.
Yeah.
It's all about pride in your country. So the Colombians are really, really proud to show you and to talk to you about Colombia, and they welcome you, and they're genuinely like thankful that you're coming to visit, and then they'll go out of their way to make sure that your visit is absolutely extraordinary. So you'll meet a random guy in a tiny little square in a town, and they'll approach you and they'll start talking to you, and obviously sometimes there's a lot of English or whatever, German versus Spanish, but sign language and everything, and all of a sudden you're following a stranger into their house, and they're giving you a cup of coffee, and they're giving you some bread, and they're showing you their house, and it's very genuine interactions, I would say, because especially when you're on the bike, you got the capability of going out to faraway places. Maybe you're a traditional tourist in Colombia is going to jump on a plane and he's going to do your usual travel circuit.
Yeah.
But when you're on the bike, you're getting to those maybe traditional tourist spots, but the way you're getting there, it's what really kind of brings the experience to life, because you stop in tiny towns and you meet the real people and you have the true kind of experience.
Yeah.
So that's super powerful and beautiful.
I had an experience that illustrates this perfectly. So I was traveling out of Medellin, and we got out into the countryside, and there was some sort of roadblock up ahead. I don't think it was any sort of block for anything other than construction, but people couldn't get through. And we're coming up to it, and a local guy on a small motorcycle, here I am on my GS all loaded up, and he comes up and he says, come this way. And I'm like, okay. So I follow him around, and we go through these little tiny streets in town, and all of a sudden I'm swarmed by 9 or 10 other little tiny motorcycles all around me. And we start going out of town, and I'm like, where are we going? And we wind up on this little tiny 2-track going through the countryside. And in my mind, I'm going, all right, I've had really great experiences in this country, so I'm just going to trust the process and go with it. And all of a sudden we pop out, and we're on the other side of the construction, and they're like, have a great time, and they're waving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I felt like the whole time that I was in Colombia, we absolutely experienced that. And as I met other travelers from around the world on motorcycles, every conversation that we had about Colombia was how it was absolutely the friendliest country that we traveled in.
It's mainly because we are always amazed of people going to Colombia. Yes, it's people from outside, and we are not used to have a lot of tourists, and it's becoming like bigger and bigger. So we are always amazed to have somebody that speaks another language and that comes to our country to visit our country. So it's like amazing just to have people from other places in our country.
That's very cool.
There's an interesting dynamic with Central and South America where the personality of people is very relaxed. Everything is laid back, and, you know, the restaurants open at 6 or 7 maybe, and, you know, maybe 8 or 9. This is really interesting for me, coming from such a sort of a rigid lifestyle in the US and traveling into Europe where, you know, everything is, you know, is on a schedule, and there doesn't seem to be a huge schedule in Colombia. Why is that, do you suppose?
I mean, it's I think it's the good and the bad, you know, because there is this theory, you know, that the people that live in places where you have the seasons, you know, where you have the marked winter and a marked summer, and for, you know, hundreds of years, especially if you look at the northern or southern hemisphere, you had to plan for the winter. You know, it's like winter is coming. You know, it's like so the summer was not for play. You know, the summer was for get ready because winter's coming, and when winter comes, you know, if you're not ready, you're going to starve to death, or you're going to freeze to death, and you're going to have so it's very structured countries. Obviously, I mean, look at the Nordic countries. You know, you look at Sweden, at Finland, at Denmark. You know, and everything works, and everything is very exact. You know, and once you get down and you go down latitude and you get to the equator, winter never comes. So that kind of instills like a very relaxed kind of way of living into people, because if you have a tree in your backyard and it gives oranges, it's going to give oranges, you know, day 1, day 365. So you just go out, you pick it up, and you bring it into your house. If you go out to the river, it's never going to be frozen. There's going to be fish in there, you know, like so it I think for Latin Americans that part of planning and structure and organizing is not such embedded in our DNA, because every day anything can happen. So there's a very relaxed atmosphere, which is also fantastic, because, you know, you're not maybe so bound by like tight structures, and that translates, I think, into personalities of people. But people are free. People are just a little bit more relaxed and always kind of like it's whatever comes kind of thing.
Riding experience. You're getting on a motorcycle, and in your case, that's happening in Bogota, yeah? And you're disappearing out into the backcountry. What kind of riding are you going to experience out there?
Any and all, you know. Obviously, if you want to, you can definitely design a trip in Colombia around paved roads. Definitely going to be like under construction type of thing, you know, because for the longest time, you know, the infrastructure wasn't developed. Right now, it's going through massive amounts of infrastructure changes and investment and things like that. So you can definitely have a paved route if that's what you like. But at this moment today, I think the best experience you're going to get to truly experience the beauty and the hidden secrets and then maybe there's some amazing little destination and location, you're definitely going to have to ride some dirt, you know. And dirt, I mean, is not a fire road like what you may have in the US, that it's a fire road that is maintained precisely so that when there's fires, you know, trucks can go in and out. So it's gravel, it's nice. This is going to be a dirt road that if it's raining, you're going to get mud and maybe get stuck. If it's dry, it's going to be rocky and loose, but a little bit of everything. So I think for your riding experience, if you want to have like the full Colombia experience, I definitely think you need to be able to feel comfortable on a dual sport bike to hit really nice pavement, because you're going to get insanely twisty roads through the mountains, you know, and carving through, and some of them are going to be amazingly empty, but that's maybe you do 30 kilometers of that, and then all of a sudden you're into like a gravel road. And you're like, what? Where did this come from? It's like, really? But then you're going to have another dirt road. So definitely feel comfortable to ride on road and off road on the big bikes, and you're going to get like the full 100% Colombia experience.
I think one of the things that shocked me about riding there was how much effort has to be put into beating back nature as it overtakes the roads, because everything grows so fast there. And there were constantly people out with machetes cutting it back because the roads were getting covered in a matter of, it was very quick.
Definitely, it happens because I mean, some places it rains so much that you can go one day and they do maintenance, which is actually quite interesting because you're out there in the middle of nowhere and then you see a crew of road workers. This is literally the middle of nowhere. They're on their orange jackets and they got the signage and they're going, but like you say, with a machete, cutting down the road, and they've done 1 kilometer, and then where they started, it's already kind of growing out again.
Yeah.
So you're definitely. I would say awareness, like always aware of the surroundings because you never really know what's coming at you. So it's like always surprises, always awareness. But in that same way, like each turn is going to bring you into it's like a constantly jaw-dropping moment, because you go around the turn, wow, but then, ooh, donkey,
I also remember at one point I stopped, I think maybe at a little checkpoint or something, and there were police officers there, and they had on like green jackets, and they had green bikes, and I thought, wow, those are such vibrant colors of green. They were very, very bright green. And in my head, I thought, wow, that's a green that doesn't occur in nature. But then I turned around and they almost blended into the countryside. So often we talk about Ireland and how it has like every shade of green. I actually felt that way in Colombia.
For sure, yeah. It's we get that a lot, actually. Like we get that when people come through and after they're leaving, a couple of the things they say, like you mentioned it first, Sean, is the people.
Yeah.
It was like, or Louise, you said it, right? Like they say, what was your favorite part of Colombia? The people. And second part, green. Like I cannot believe, like this is why is it so green? Like really? Is that such a wide range of greens? Yeah. I only knew one green. Now I know, 1 gazillion green.
Yeah, exactly. There's not even a number for that.
So Louise and I will be the first to say that for us, riding isn't everything. Like we love to ride, but there's a thing that happens at the end of the day. There's got to be food. What would you say when people go to Colombia is the food that they have to try and enjoy?
Maybe we can ask the vegetarian. Part-time vegetarian, depending on where she's at in Colombia.
Well, the fruits. I mean, you can find any fruit any time of the year. There are a lot of fruits that you can even have it here in the States or anywhere else. It's like amazing fruits. Like sometimes we don't even know what fruit it is. It's like, what? We have this fruit here? Yes, because there are thousands of fruits anywhere, everywhere, and they are delicious. So all through the year, you have fruits.
That's cool.
All of them.
Yeah.
And then for the truly hardcore vegetarians, the chicharrón. It's the pork belly, deep fried pork belly. It'll turn any vegetarian into a
meat eater.
Into a meat eater for sure.
When people ask me where I really like to travel, generally my answer is I like to go places that are not heavily westernized. Like I don't want to stay in a Holiday Inn when I go somewhere. I want to stay in an authentic environment where they're less catered, everybody's welcoming to tourists, but they're not creating these big infrastructures that are dedicated just to tourism. Like you stay at the villas that locals would stay at. And this was my experience there, is that you ride on these cobblestone streets and you go to these beautiful little...
Like colonial house?
Yeah, it's, you go in, it's a big, giant, beautiful wooden door and like a big courtyard inside. And over the years, as you've started to accept tourism, has that maintained that feel or is it transitioning?
I think, there's definitely still that genuine side of, you're getting the true genuine experience. And that's also, we like that as well. When Saada and I are traveling, we like to find the genuine type of experience because that's very important. And I think tourism is a double-sided coin, because as more tourists arrive, tourists sometimes start to demand things that they're used to back home.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, especially in the more kind of the tourist circle and tourist destinations. Sometimes places kind of lose a little bit their identity to try and cater to the tourist. In Colombia, we're in a great moment, and for me, it's like the perfect moment. This is the time to go to Colombia because we are kind of like on the brink. We're receiving massive amount of tourism, and tourism is developing like crazy, and it's amazing for the country because it's such a boost in the economy. But you still get those genuine places. You still get to those places where the experience is authentic, the food is authentic, and you're talking to like the local, and they're making you maybe grandma's soup from the recipe that has all these years old, and they're treating you not as a tourist but as a friend. So I think it's always a very delicate balance, because the tourists the people are looking for unique experiences, so they want to live something. They don't want to go to like a cookie cutter type of thing, and maybe especially adventure riders, people that are kind of keen on getting a little bit out there. So that truly genuine experience, you can get it. It's not hard to find. It's not like something that you have to go and try and find, this. So it's still a very beautiful thing about Colombia, is that you are being able to fully immerse in the culture and the people and the lifestyle without like a quid pro quo type of thing. I mean, this is us, this is it. Like what else can I give you for you to be happy and have a good time, without thinking that I'm giving you something, like it's just, this is me, this is my life. Just come here, have a coffee or have a food, or let's say have a conversation, and then you start talking, and then all of a sudden the night kind of goes away, and you've made a new friend, and it's I would say, I would definitely describe it as genuine,
authentic.
Authentic, yes.
Living in a place as exotic as Colombia, where do you go to have an exotic experience? If you leave Colombia and you go, we're going to go somewhere exciting and go have our fun, like what's your escape?
I think it's Berlin. We saw them there in July.
Yeah, motorized days. Yeah.
We might go to Berlin, but it's tricky, because I think for us, traveling has become also an integral part of the business. A lot of the travel we do is related to the business, but I think actually we go to Colombia, because we are constantly looking for new routes, new destinations, new locations, new places to explore. So sometimes I'll tell Saada, hey, tomorrow we're going for 5 days, and we're taking the bike, and we're gonna go explore this point, and so I think those vacations are, for us, the beauty of working in this is that you truly get to explore, and for us it's very important. Local knowledge is critical. I think I told you maybe this one time, like business is global, and you can in any type of business, but local knowledge, that's what sets things apart, So if you're not informed and you're not constantly looking and constantly searching and getting lost, or in those experiences, so I kind of maybe extended a little bit the answer, but I definitely prefer, if I can, to keep exploring my country, and we go together and we explore it, because our goal is to get to know it better than anyone else. So we really enjoy those vacations at home in Colombia.
I remember riding with you and coming to a stop in the middle of nowhere on some river, and you go, okay, we're done for the day. And I'm looking around going, okay, well, there's nothing here. Like, we're just in a gravel lot with a river going by, and I'm not really sure where we're supposed to be staying. And like on cue, like an old aluminum sided boat comes up. He's like, get in. And we go up river to this amazing little, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a tree house style sleeping arrangements.
Yeah, like the houses on the stilts, because that place is one of our favorite places. Is in La Miel River, and it's beautiful because you get to disconnect 100%. Even us as locals, because it's one of the places that has no signal and has nothing, and you're truly immersed in nature, and it's a time to reflect and to talk, and you sit by the river and have a beer, and the birds and the monkeys and everything starts sounding, and you're truly, even if it is for a brief moment, you feel like you are alone, disconnected, or maybe with those that you care about, whatever. So those type of experiences, I think, happen a lot, and you get that chance to have that and disconnect. It's like, hey, I'm gonna be gone maybe for a couple of days. I'm not gonna be so focused maybe on my cell phone, and I'll give the family a heads up. Hey, no news, good news.
Yeah.
Speak in 10 days. I'm just
What's the best time of year to travel in Colombia?
Well, I think it's all through the year.
Yeah.
All through the year, because since we said we don't have seasons, so the weather is perfect all through the year. There are some rainy seasons, but weather is changing a lot. So right now, we can say we can receive everybody all through the year.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the beauty of Colombia, is that it's 365. Certainly, a lot of folks come in the kind of end of November, late March window, because that's when people are escaping their winter and they cannot ride maybe their bikes, and they want to get a little bit of warmer weather in their system. But June through December, and like Saada says, yes, maybe April, May, we get some rain in some regions, especially like the motorcycle regions, and then October, November again, another kind of window of rain. Yeah. But again, it's like the weatherman. I mean, that April, May window can rain, or maybe it cannot rain. So it's very difficult. So it's all year round, and it's beautiful, and it's 365 days of the year. Just get to ride your motorcycle, which is wonderful.
So if somebody wants to come and ride in Colombia, you can provide them with quite a bit. You have anything from a full-fledged tour all the way down to just picking up a bike and going out.
Yeah, absolutely. You get the chance of the all kind of inclusive tour, with the guide, with the support vehicle, with the super nice hotels, with amazing dinners, everything, and fully organized. We basically give you a recommendation of what to pack in your bag, and then we pick you up at the airport, and then we show you a truly, truly like unforgettable time. And then we get the self-guided too. Maybe somebody wants to do it on their own. They like to do it. They feel comfortable doing it on their own. But they maybe just need a little bit of pointers here and there. It's like, hey, I have 6 days or 8 days. I'd like to design an itinerary and maybe help me book some hotels. And then you can get the rental as well. Yeah. And in the rentals, we go like above and beyond, because we really like people to take the best experience. Yeah. So when somebody's coming for a rental, and sometimes they kind of, hey, I have this idea of itinerary in mind, and I look at it and I go like, oh, no, I mean, you could do so much better, and I don't want you to miss out. Yeah. So let me help you. Let me be here. I would recommend this place over this place, and maybe go here. And if you are comfortable with a little bit of dirt or mountains or whatever, but I don't want you to, if maybe this is the only time you're coming to Colombia, I would hate for you to miss out on something that could potentially change your life and or your trip, and be like, wow, man, and they come back after that and it's like, hey, wow, that place you said that I didn't have in my original plan and you recommend it. Yeah. Wow, it made the trip. Yeah. So we don't like for people to miss out on the potential experiences they could have in the country. Nice. So everything, but anything and everything around the trips and the tours and the rentals and the local knowledge and giving people our slogan, if you want to say it, is like stories to share for a lifetime. Yeah, that's what we focus on. So it's truly like we want to provide a memory that lasts a lifetime, and whatever we can do in the process to make it happen, that's why we're passionate about this.
How can people find out more about who you are and what you do?
Well, they can. We're fairly active on Instagram. We're Elephant Moto Co. on Instagram. We got the website too, elephantmoto.com.
And I know you've expanded outside of Colombia. Now you have your company's operating out of Costa Rica, which is amazing. And we'll talk about that another time. But are you going to expand outside of those two, or is that enough?
Well, Sean, would you like to be a partner?
It was really good talking to you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time.
And thanks for coming in so early this morning. No. You guys are troopers.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to always see you guys and chat. And just, I think, if anybody can have us talking about motorcycles any time of the day, I think we'll do it forever. 5 a.m., 6 a.m. For the record, it's 3:30 in the morning over here.
We make them get up really early.
I'm sorry. We very much hope you have enjoyed this episode. We want to hear from you, so please rate, comment, and share your thoughts about this podcast. We have many more episodes on the way, so please subscribe, follow along, and share your requests for future episodes of the BMW Motorrad Ride and Talk podcast.